thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector podcast. I am your host, Tabatha L. For this next hour, I will take time to answer your NEC code questions beginning tonight and every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I wanted to create this platform for the electrical industry so that we can discuss and agree on the minimum requirements of the National Electrical Code for any electrical job projects. My goal is to have a broad agreement as we share and establish a common general understanding of the National Electrical Code requirements for the code cycles of 2014 and 2020. I will answer questions 2017. So, if you are in the electrical industry and you have a electrical code question, give me a call. If you are an electrician or electrical contractor installing electrical equipment on job sites and you have code questions and you want my electrical code interpretation, give me a call. I will use my electrical on-the-job training as well as my electrical background to answer code questions on residential, commercial, and light industrial. I have talked with a lot of electrical contractors, and one of the things that they constantly state is that they wish the code could be interpreted and enforced with consistency throughout the local municipalities and local jurisdictions. And that's my goal, to establish consistency. Just a reminder, I will not discuss any electrical code calculation questions. One question per caller. Again, I would like to thank every one of you for taking time out of your evening to tune in. Without any further delays, let's get right to it. The lines are open. Just a reminder, you can give me a call regarding any code questions. I am an electrical inspector. I've been in the trade for 33 years. I originally got my start as an electrician in the United States Navy. I served in the Navy for 6 years as an electrician. I was on board ships such as the USS Sustain and the USS Emory S. Land. Upon being honorably discharged from the military, I joined local union, IBEW Local 1 in St. Louis, Missouri. I worked in Local 1 for 17 years as an electrician. So I have a lot of experience in the electrical industry, and I work as an electrical inspector. I do all sorts of electrical inspections, and on some of the jobs that I've had, there are some issues that are continuous. And some of those issues are, we have issues with listings. And when I say listings, I mean the national recognized testing laboratories. So there's issues with things that come out of testing laboratories that doesn't have any listings on them. So that's an issue that we would like to address. But please give me a call if you have any questions. Reach out, please. call into 1-563-993550. Give me a call. Well, there's no callers yet, but I'm going to hold on, and hope that St. Louis shows up. Let's go, St. Louis. Call me up. You can ask me any electrical code question. Any questions that you would have about any installations you have on your jobs, whether you're working in a residential home, or you're working in a factory, or you're working in a hospital, or you're just working in an office building. I do have the answers. I have books here. I have the knowledge. I'm available, and I'm willing to help. Just reach out. Anyone? Well, hey, let's go over some articles in the book. Yes, let's do that. Hello, I'm back. Go over let's just start in the beginning of the code book with the introduction. So the National Electrical Code Book, it's a code book that's established to protect electrical workers and electrical protection of safeguarding against equipment when you're installing it. So basically, it's just a minimum requirement of electrical installations that you have to follow if you're going to install electrical work. National Electrical Code has been around for 117 years, just in case you didn't know that. And we're going to go into introductions, and we're going to start there. So, like I stated, the purpose of the code is to practice safeguarding of persons and properties from hazards arising from the electricity. This code is not intended as a design for any specifications or any instructional manual for untrained people. So starting in Article 90, A would be the practical safeguarding. B would be adequacy. The code contains provisions and consider necessary safeties, compliance within. So looking at the scope in the introduction, this will help you to understand the code and give you some basic general insights. So if you're just beginning to learn the National Electrical Code, that's a good thing to do. Go and read the introduction. The introduction will introduce you to what's to come in the code. Also, when you're in the code, you have general definitions. And these general definitions describe things that are applied, that we use to apply in the code, such as accessibility. I have that a lot. GFCI protection. I have that where a GFI, it needs to be readily accessible. So it needs to be within reach. But if you can't reach it, it's not accessible. So going through these definitions will give you some really good information on understanding the National Electrical Code. Okay. So Article 100, we start with definitions. Article 110 is basically just general requirements, basic general requirements. And I mentioned earlier, one of the code articles that I deal with on a frequent basis is Article 110.3b, installation and uses. Listed and labeled equipment shall be installed and used in accordance with any instructions included in the listings. That's one that I see every single day. I see that. In the requirements for the electrical installation, you have different articles. This is really a good place to start when you're going to install anything electrical, because it just gives you the basic minimum requirements. So if you have any questions or you want me to interpret any of these code articles for you, you can give me a call. So I'm just going to go through the code book right now until I get a call. So we're going to go carry on with Article 1. We have Article 110. So after Article 110, we go to Article 200. Article 200 is regarding wiring and protection. So this article, the brief description, it just covers the identification of terminals. It covers grounded conductors and premise wirings and systems. It covers the identification of grounded conductors. It covers really what we in the code like to say is covering the ungrounded, the neutral, the grounded conductor. So that's what it's covering, the neutral. So that's really what Article 200 is regarding. In Article 200, something that I would like contractors to pay attention to regarding Article 200 would be, it would be Article looking for that article that I really like. .4. So when you're in a panel and a service panel, your first means of disconnect. At that service panel, you want to bond the grounds and the neutrals with a service entrance cable. One of the problems that I see a lot would be that the grounds and the neutrals, or sometimes the neutrals are touching the metal can directly. And that's a problem because the neutral cannot depend solely on the can. So in that case, you have to have a bonding screw. That's allowed. Your panel should say that it's suitable for use as a service panel. With that being said, if that's the case, you're going to have a grounding screw, in the panel. Just looking to see if I had any callers yet. So that grounding screw in the panel, that's the indication that you have a service-rated panel. So as